I've been waived several times in the WNBA.
Oregon is next on the docket to make flag football a high school sport for girls.
Making that statement of, okay, I'm going to retire, how scared I was.
Don't see this as a failure. It's literally just moving the goalpost.
Yep.
We are back with season 2. It's Lauren Duletsky.
And I'm Jacki G.
And this is the Click Clack podcast.
It's us again. Welcome back to Click Clack. Elle, what's going on?
What isn't going on? I mean, that's everybody. I feel like asks me, "How are you doing? Is your load a little lighter?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Are you well?" I'm like, "Not really."
Yeah, I mean, you're well, but like there's times where you're unwell. I get it. Same.
But I'm really happy to be sitting here with you.
Me too.
Because every time we record, I get so excited about what we're going to talk about.
Same. I love our culture episodes because we can really just focus on each other and like everything can just be super cash.
And it's so fun to have guests on because we just really get to, peel back the layers of them. But on these episodes, we're peeling back the layers of us.
100%.
And we get to talk about what's going on in women's sports.
Yes.
Which is so fun because we literally talk about that 24/7.
It's a topic that we love.
We're going to talk about women's sports headlines in our new section called The Drip.
Drip drop.
Drip drop. It's the name we want for the Portland WNBA team. We don't think it's going to happen, but
It's not happening.
We
but
are
that's okay.
coining it for Click Clack because it's meant to be a constant drip of women's sports news headlines.
Love it.
And we're going to break it down. We're going to unpack it.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Drip.
I know this one is a very personal topic for you. There has been a lot more ACL injuries in the W lately. So
Yes,
do you want to kind of unpack that for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's been heavy on my mind because a while back you had Nika Mule who went down in the off season and while she was playing in Turkey, who plays for the Seattle Storm. And then you had Jordan Horston who got hurt, I think, in Athletes Unlimited, also plays for the Seattle Storm. And then preseason this year you had Georgia Amore, who was a top draft pick for Washington that went down. And then another Seattle Storm player, Katie Lou Samuelson. So that's 3 players for the Storm. And immediately what I thought, so I'm pretty sure they've got 10 players on their roster right now, which is going to be tough moving forward because the amount of games have increased this year too with the new addition of the Valkyries team. So now there's 44 games to be played, and I believe they have a 10-player roster. The first person who I thought about was Dominique Malunga, who was their number 2 overall draft pick, who's someone who's going to be extremely good in this league and going to be one of the top rookies. She's just got a tremendous upside to her game. She can dunk at ease. She's
That's
tall.
sick.
She's very versatile. She's going to be a real player in this league. I was hoping that she'd have a player like Katie Lou that would be there in front of her to kind of help guide her a little bit. But now I feel like Malunga is going to get kind of thrown into the fire. Not that she's not ready for it, but it would be nice to have a little bit of a grace period and other players that could also play her position and help kind of get her adjusted to the game, which is probably going to be good for her too. She's going to get thrown in the fire, and I think it's going to be really cool for her. But all that to say, a lot of ACL injuries. Obviously, that hits home for me. I've torn my ACL a bunch of times, as everyone knows. So when I see that particular injury, I know what that trajectory looks like. I know what that grind looks like. I know all the heartache and sweat and tears that goes into that. So it sucks to continue to see it happen, and it's not getting better, I feel like.
So I have 2 questions for you just on this topic. Sue Bird had a really amazing statement around recently talking about being on her period. Like, she can remember being on her period and tearing her ACL. Like, this is not news to people. Like, all this research coming out being like, we're going to solve this issue. And a lot of athletes have said, it happened when I was on my period.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about your experience? Because I think you've alluded to that too.
Yeah, from what I remember, 3 of the times I tore my ACL, I was also on my period. And to go back to Megan and Sue's podcast, I believe Megan also said she was on her period when she tore her ACL. So there's obviously something to say about that. I feel like when I was tearing my ACL, which was like 12 years ago, they were saying that. They're still saying the same shit.
No solutions. Classic.
So it's just like, yeah, that's been a thing. We've been talking about it for so long, but what? Like, ... what?
This is like the delicate balance of research and insights and action.
Right.
Because it's like the research is there. The lived experiences are there. Now let's take some freaking action and come up with something.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's things out there, but they're not commercialized enough for the public to know about.
Right.
To actually solve this problem.
That's a great call out.
Like, it's insane to me. But it's just another example of how people don't focus on women's issues.
Right.
Like, and I've been saying this stat lately, but I recently read that women weren't allowed to be part of clinical studies, like scientific clinical studies, until 1993. You guys, that wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
And so it's like, you just think about how much further we have to go in this area to help us with our performance and the utility in our lives.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you, and I feel like it's going to take, people like us and a shit ton of other people to continue to talk about it for something to actually get done. But going back a little bit of what I was saying earlier, just my heart goes out to these women, and my best advice is just to keep your eye on the prize and not detour too far from the goal and the mission, and that is to get back on the court and to get better. A lot of times this injury could potentially make you a better player, and that is my hope for all of them. The good thing is a lot of the players in that group are young, and they have a lot of years left and a lot of basketball left to play.
So my other question for you related to these women's careers, and this might be a tough one because everybody recovers so differently. How many of these women do you think really can recover? Like, what is it going to take? Like, is there a number or an average of people that really get back to where they were before?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have I guess precise or very dialed in information to answer this question, but what I can say is I think if you're repeating the same injury more than once, it's going to be very hard for you to come back at that same level. But I do think after having one major injury, whether it's an Achilles or an ACL or just something major like that, I do think that you could get back to that same level. There's a lot of players like Breanna Stewart tore her Achilles. She came back. She's still one of the best players in the world. Chelsea Gray has had a ton of ACLs and stuff that have gone on with her knees. She still plays at a very high level. Sue Bird. I mean, the list goes on. People can get back to that level. A lot of it isn't even the physical aspect of it. It's actually the mental aspect of it. Getting to a comfortable place where you're confident enough to go in there and make that move like you did before you got injured.
Interesting. Okay. Well, thanks for answering that, Jack.
Yeah, of course.
I've never torn my full ACL. I've torn my meniscus. I can't even imagine what it would be like to tear the whole thing. Like, it just...
Yeah, I mean, a meniscus is a completely different injury, and that is, it's not fun either.
Yeah, but you don't necessarily have to get surgery for your meniscus.
No,
I didn't
don't.
have to get surgery for it.
Yeah, but it causes, arthritis and different issues, which isn't fun either. All of my ACL tears were clean ACL tears. I had no meniscal damage.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really unique and weird.
That is unique.
Yeah.
Just imagine Lauren on the top of a very snowy mountain during a completely grayed out day, thinking she was Shaun White. Actually, let's say Chloe Kim, and just fucking tumbling down the mountain.
Damn, girl.
That's
rough. But I will say you on your snowboard, you were giving Tom girl for sure.
Okay.
It was
I love that.
You weren't like girly Lauren, so.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fierce and feminine. The drip topic number 2. We know that women in sports do not make enough money. That is a pervasive problem globally. There's an 80% disparity of wealth between men and women in sports globally. So we know it's a big issue. This week, a defender for Team Italy, who has been one of their star players and was retiring her jersey. This was her last game. She's had over 100 caps, which is a huge accomplishment in soccer. She wore her resume on her jersey.
Just to clarify what a cap means in soccer, it's how many times you played in an international game. So I believe Alia, when we referred to her having 100 caps, she's played in over 100 games for the Italian national team.
And I want to shout out to the Female Athlete Project, who we love. They were the first to report on this story that I could find. And it's such an important story to raise awareness around because we have to help athletes be better prepared for life after sport. And I think you are someone who can speak to that so well because most women don't make generational wealth in their sports.
Right. I know. It's just such a, like you said earlier, disruptive statement that she made and just very bold. Really smart, honestly. I don't know who came up with that idea, but that's super dope. when you sent me that, I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. It's such a scary topic. I remember probably a few months leading up to me actually making that statement of, okay, I'm going to retire, how scared I was. I was literally frightened. And I knew that the only way that I was actually going to go forward with it was first by telling my parents, because that was going to make it real for me. And then second was posting it on Instagram because I needed the world to see it. But all that to say, like, you can't really prepare for what's next because you don't have a lot to go off of. You know, all we can offer, like a corporation or an industry, is the fact that we played a sport at a very high level, which I think is huge, but at the same time also a disadvantage because we don't have any work experience. It's a scary thing. Every athlete goes through it. They always say network and prepare yourself and all these things. And like, yes, all those things are true, but still there's just not the opportunities out there that you'd hope for at this point.
That's why we have to band together as a community of women to help.
Right.
Like, that's honestly why we're here,
Yeah.
is to really create awareness for these issues and help women see that there are so many other paths for them, that we are all multidimensional, that we have tons of skills beyond one thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you kind of pulling on the heartstrings of the experience, because I can't imagine what that would be like. I mean, I grew up in industry. So I've always played sports like on the side, and I've always, loved sports, but I didn't have it in me to get to where you got to in your career. And that is like an exceptional achievement.
Yeah. I remember you pulling up some stat or quote about some percentage of founders are they played sports.
It's like roughly 90% of women in C-suite positions have played sports.
Right.
It's been a statistic that coincidentally this year has been rolling around quite a bit. And I'm like, it's funny because this statistic has probably been around a really long time,
Yeah.
but with the growth of women's sports, everybody's glomming onto it. But I think it's a rallying cry for women.
Yeah. And I think that just supports, like everything that athletes can do for a corporation or for the next phase of life.
I actually think there could be a university for athletes after their sports that becomes like an MBA. This might actually already exist. I think actually U of O has something maybe a little bit like this, but it would be a way for athletes to network and get placed into different industries after their career. I just think that could be super interesting, and not even in sports. Like, I know that we need athlete insights in sports, but I actually think we need athlete insights in other industries.
Same. And I just think like the WIN program, I go back to that because it's what I know. I just wish that there were more programs out there like what Nike did. Like, for example, ESPN, I think that that's a perfect company that should have some sort of program that can bring athletes in to teach them, get their feet wet in the broadcast world or just other areas.
I mean, ESPN makes a ton of sense, but I also think those skills could be transferable in so many other spaces. I mean, think about technology, technology for athletes, technology for performance. You think about spaces like sports science, some of these people, I mean, I know athletes that also are going to school for kinesiology and different things. And so there's just so many other pathways.
Right. Yeah, I think that's also the point of these programs, is like to put them in roles and help guide them through it to get to a place where like they know how to write a proper email, or they know how, to speak to, a room full of corporate people. I also think in teams, like within WNBA teams and NBA teams, there's so many roles in the front office that like women or men in sports and life after sport would be so perfect in those roles. Like GM roles, I think that there should be some sort of program that like individual teams and ownership try to embed, within the team that help like former players become GMs.
I love it. I mean, who better to help design the future of a team than a former player?
Right.
I mean, you need a lot of skills, right? You need diverse skills. You don't want a one, myopic point of view. But that's really, to me, the greatest innovation that can come out of these women's franchises in the future, is bringing more diversity of the type of talent that they have.
Right.
And I think this team up right here is a perfect example of that. We like come from such different backgrounds, such different sports, different experiences and lives, but like we bring this beautiful product together with both of our skills.
For sure. And like just to go back a little bit on like former players becoming GMs, there's like a lot for former players to learn. You can't just come in and be a GM. You have to learn, you have to know the CBA. There's a lot of things that like, I'm not saying that you should just walk in and be able to do, but I think that there's such an advantage being a former player, knowing how to put a team together. You see it differently than someone else that didn't play. So I think just like combining those skills, and like that's why I think programs that like help you kind of like shift your way into those roles like would be super beneficial, because you can learn like the CBA, you can learn. You can't learn how to be a professional athlete if you haven't done it.
It's true. I think this is one we're going to definitely talk about more in the future, but let's pivot to drip number 3. The W rosters right now. This episode is going to air after WNBA preseason is over and the full season is full swing. But there has been some drama, some tea, drinking my tea this time around. And I think it's because people are so much more invested in these women and the players and their stories. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now we're just kind of seeing all the rosters get finalized, and you're seeing a lot of players get waived. And this is another topic that weighs on me and is very heavy on my heart, because I've been waived several times in the WNBA.
So Jack, I'm kind of getting the sense that getting waived, which is just a nicer way of saying getting cut, is almost like getting fired from a job.
Right, except it's publicly announced.
I couldn't even imagine.
It's humiliating. You know, you get fired and the world sees, and they all talk shit.
But how you respond shows everything about your character.
Going back to when I played, I just remember how devastating it is, because the whole world knows. Like us, like we're scrolling on Instagram and TikTok, and we're seeing all these players getting waived, and you know, just like it's just another post. But it is so detrimental and so life-changing when you get waived, and I just feel for these women, and it's been honestly sad to see, but like it's not the end, you know. And it's just a time in their career, and they're going to be able to pick it back up at some point.
I think for me, I'm still learning a lot of the ins and outs of the W and kind of how the season gets developed and how the rosters are developed, and it's a very technical process, and a lot of what gets publicized on social media is 1/10 of the story. And so, all I can say is I feel for these women. They've worked their whole lives for this. And my hope is that with the growth of women's sports and the energy around it, there are so many other pathways for them, whether they decide to stay in basketball or they decide to go in a different direction. Like, we women have to help each other.
Yeah.
And so, like, rather than, making it a whole dramatic thing, it's like, okay, how do we help?
Yeah.
What do we do? How do we reach out to these players? Like, how do we get in touch? And I'm sure there's an emotional roller coaster that happens around something like this, and you have to give it space and time. But ultimately, like, we're here to be your champions. Like,
Absolutely.
You didn't make it, so fucking what?
Yeah.
You can still be successful in sports, out of sports.
Yeah. And I think the reality still is this league is 13 teams and there's 156 roster spots. So you have to be the top 156 player in the world to make this league. It's not a big league. There's 30 NBA teams, there's 13 WNBA teams. There's a very small margin for error, and the good thing is nowadays there are other emerging leagues like Athletes Unlimited. You still have overseas, and you have Unrivaled, and you're going to have other leagues that are going to pop up. Being waived does not define who you are, even though it feels like at the time you're letting everyone around you down, because there's so much excitement about you getting drafted, or there's so much excitement about you getting into a training camp from your friends, your family, your agent, for so many people. And then you almost feel like you're letting all those people down when you get waived. But again, it does not define you, and I think my heart goes out to all these incredible players, because they all deserve to be on a roster, and I'm sure one day they will be, because we're adding 2 more teams next year. So that's another 24 players that are going to be added to the WNBA.
And more in the future, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So there's going to be space for these players that are on the cusp and probably should make a roster. There's just not enough spots.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But I think the most important thing is people care now.
Yeah.
Like, publicly. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just the truth. Like, these women, like you, probably had to suffer in a lot of silence back in the day. And I'm sure there was maybe some news articles or things. But, it's a double-edged sword, because you have, like, the social media just, like, stream of crap and, just good stuff, bad stuff, whatever. But in the same vein, it creates energy around the opportunity. And so it is a double-edged sword. But, yeah, we feel for these women, and we are here to be your champions. Don't see this as a failure. It's literally just moving the goalpost.
Yep.
That's life. Moving the goalpost to the next one.
That's what we do at Click Clack every day.
That's what's up. I mean, look at this one over here. Like, got waived 10. How many ACL tears have you've had? You still made it. You still were in the league for 10 years. Like, that's the definition of success in my mind.
Oh, you're so sweet.
It's true.
I just think, like, there's always something to look forward to. There's always next year. There's always like, what is your why and what are you holding on to and what are you working towards for the next time?
Yeah.
And I think, I hope that the players that do get waived, they're asking their coaches, why? What did I not do? What can I do better?
Yep.
When I get this opportunity next year, like, what do I need to focus on? And I think for me, that was what I always tried to do every time I did get waived. And I needed something tangible to hold on to work on. But if I remember one time I got cut from the New York Liberty in 2018, and Bill Laimbeer told me, you did everything right. We just didn't have enough spots for you. And that crushed me because I'm like, you're telling me I did everything right. Like, why didn't I make this roster? Because there's not enough. Fuck that,
Yeah.
And I'm like, give me something to work for in the off season that I could fucking work for,
That's honestly a lame ass answer.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sorry.
but yes,
What's his name, Bill? Sorry, Bill.
It may have been lame, but it was the truth because there just wasn't enough roster spots. They already knew who they were going to keep on the roster.
Yeah.
I was basically a training camp filler, even though I thought I did enough to make the roster, and I thought maybe that I was better than certain players on the team. But they already had their mind made up, But I was just crushed because I'm like, yo, you're going to cut me, but you're not going to tell me you're going to tell me I was fucking perfect? You're going to tell me I did everything right?
I think life is, if I may, is a bit of a goalpost. Mm-hmm. And, like, you have that goalpost, right? But then that goalpost just keeps moving.
Right.
And that's, honestly, to me, what makes life exciting, Like, those little moments that you're just so devastated. I wasn't a professional athlete, but I have so many moments in my career where I was devastated by something I did or didn't do or whatever.
Is there anything that you can pinpoint in your like career that you were devastated and like
yes.
how did you maneuver it?
So when I was a very young PR girl, early days working for an agency that supported Microsoft, I had a really tough boss, really tough boss. And she put me on a performance plan. Mm-hmm. I have always been a very high achiever. Very high achiever.
Yes, I know
and
that.
This is a very pinnacle point in my career where I was only a few years in. I felt like I was doing great and then had a couple missteps. And it was just to get a performance plan as a young person and being like, I think a lot of times it's easy to just be like, screw this. I'm going to go to a different company. I'm like, people just jump around.
Yeah.
That is never how I've been though. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this as a personal challenge to turn it around. And I got a promotion 8 months later.
Oh my God. Let's fucking go.
And I'm not perfect. I've had many missteps in my career, but I do know that the best way you can respond is moving the goalpost. Mm-hmm. What's that next thing?
That's fire. I love that.
Drip number 4, we can't not talk about it. The Portland Trailblazers, our NBA team, are up for sale. The first time since 1988, y'all. So 1988, Paul Allen bought the Trailblazers. He since has passed. He was the founder of Microsoft. His sister has kind of helped keep the foundation going, supporting the Blazers. They also own the Seahawks. And why this is so crazy right now is because the NBA has been our biggest sport in Portland. It's a big basketball town. We finally got the WNBA back. That's going to launch in 2026. And who knows if the Blazers are going to stay here. Phil Knight, or we call him Uncle Phil, had for a long time said he wanted to buy the Blazers. And now he's saying he doesn't. And so there could be another owner that comes from a different place and moves the franchise, which would be hugely detrimental to the basketball community here, to the WNBA, because as we talk about on our Instagram, go check it out. We did a whole analysis on it. Like the two leagues need to work together to create momentum in the city and create an enterprise for basketball in these cities. So it's wild times in Portland, y'all, with a sale of a major NBA team and building a new WNBA team.
Mm-hmm. So. No, I know this hits home for you because you're from here. And you know the history of the Blazers. And I've just lived here for only 3 years, but I see how passionate all the fans are about the Blazers, even though they've been trash for a very long time.
They definitely need a rebrand.
Just calling it what it is.
Yeah.
But like we said in our social post was all the fans that rally behind the Blazers, we're going to lose that on the W side or not get that as much, right? And we need the support from those Blazer fans to carry over on the W side. And so someday the W will be able to stand alone on their own 2 feet without, an NBA team attached to them. But right now we're just not there. Hopefully we get in new amazing ownership and they keep their ass in Portland, Oregon.
So we're going to move into a section I'm calling Click Clack Off the Court. It's a new section where Jacki and I are going to be out in the world talking to women in sports, out of sports, doing amazing things. We have such an amazing opportunity this weekend where we're going to get to see a bunch of young women's flag football players playing in a tournament here in Portland because Oregon is next on the docket to make flag football a high school sport for girls. We all know that flag football is coming as an LA28 sport. I believe the number is 15 states now have come on board and funded this at a high school level for girls.
Awesome.
So it is going to be the next emerging sport. So I feel really honored that we were asked to come and moderate a panel there. And the panel is really going to be around helping these young girls see how sport can help them in leadership roles in their sports and out of their sports. So I know, Jack, you can't be there.
First and foremost, I can't make it because my amazing wife is having her commencement in San Diego. Shout out to Carla for all the hard work that she's done. She got her degree. It's something that she really wanted to do for herself and for her mom, even though it's like not really going to help her in her job in real life, but it's just something like a pride thing that she wanted to do, and I'm super, super proud of her. So I'm going to be in San Diego doing that, which is a very good excuse to not be at this panel.
That's what's up.
But yes, I am sad. And shout out to the 2 WIN members that are going to be on the panel. 2 former WNBA players that work at Nike, Lisa Willis and Carla McGee. Both these women are so incredible in their roles at Nike. I believe Lisa even has written a book. She's really awesome. She's going to relate to the kids so well. And I'm just, super sad I'm not going to be there, but really happy and excited that they're going to be on the panel with you.
We're going to miss you, Jack, but it's going to be such a fun experience. I can't wait. And you'll be able to see the full panel interview on our YouTube as bonus content.
Can't wait. I'm excited to watch it myself. Shit.
You'll be at the next one, girl.
I will.
Let's go. I'm super honored to introduce 2 former WNBA players. We have Lisa Willis over here, and I'll hand the mic to her. And we have Carla McGee.
I broke every bone in my face. I had brain injury. I had to be airlifted, so I was in a coma for 47 hours. And I remember my coach, who loves basketball, she said, I don't care if you do nothing else, but you're gonna graduate. My teammates, we don't care if you walk, we don't care whatever, we just want you.
I know is that we tend to compete with ourselves more than we compete with other people, and so there were different things, mindset things that I had to really champion while I was with the Knicks. Your identity, who are you? Get really clear on who you are, because when stuff happens in any area of your life, you still owe it to yourself to be that same amazing person.
All right. Last section of the episode.
Last but
Everybody's favorite.
We both have the same slam dunk
do.
because we just had an absolutely incredible evening at our Click Clack launch party. And I want you to kind of tee us off because you deserve that.
Oh, well, thank you. So this has been building this company, and this team and everything we've done has taken a lot of heart and grit and heartache, all the things, all the feelings and emotions. And it was super important for us to take a pause and to celebrate our success. And as women, we don't do that enough. So we really went all out. I mean, you guys, we had a party at this insane house. It's actually a former Blazers house, Zach Randolph. This house is absolutely amazing. We built a tunnel walk because Jacki and I love fashion and beauty. So we wanted our guests to feel really special and get that like style moment that the players get when they're walking into big moments. It was such a hit with our guests. It was such a moment to celebrate with our community. Our guests came. It was such a powerful moment. I made it through my speech without crying the whole time.
You cracked a little bit.
I cracked just a teeny.
It was so sweet.
I was very embarrassed, but I was like, you know what? It's okay if we're out here saying we can be feminine and strong.
Yeah.
We can cry.
Yeah.
And
We
not be
absolutely
embarrassed. I cried during my entire wedding. I don't think I didn't cry the whole time because I was like so emotional and sick, but it's fine. But yeah, I mean, I was just so proud to be up there with you, and we gave a baller speech. I was really proud of us. And it was just, I think every single person there just felt the energy and excitement of what we're building with Click Clack.
I had a similar high that I did at my wedding, which was a very high bar. When you throw a party or when you do something really special, I love the the experience that the guests have. And I think that it was an amazing experience for our guests. Like you said, we did the tunnel walk fashion deal. We had a really amazing photographer. Shout out to Stephanie Castillo.
The best.
Yeah, she was awesome. She captured so many cool moments. We had Trela, who catered our food, like the best Greek food in Portland, hands down by far.
So good. Shout out to Emmett. You're amazing.
Yeah, and then Justin Alexander for their amazing candles that really, really spiced things up for us. Talk a little bit about those candles.
Okay, you guys, I love a candle. This is not a paid advertisement, by the way. I love a candle. My like pinnacle of candle has been the Le Labo candle. Like I want that damn candle. I have Santal 33. It's one of my favorite scents. But the candle is so expensive. And so that's kind of like my bar for like, you've made it when you can get
Le Labo
the
candles.
Le Labo candles.
Agreed.
I'm going to say something really controversial here. The Justin Alexander candles smell better than the Le Labo candles. You heard it here.
You heard it here, and I'm on board with that. I also agree. I mean, I have one right there. Let's go.
Here, let's just like show it, okay? You guys.
It is, yeah, it's insane.
Perfect.
It is so good. It really set the mood, and the smell, obviously, for all of our guests.
Scent matters. It's one of the biggest triggers for memory is scent.
But going back to the party, as I was looking through the photos and just seeing the quality of people that we had at our party meant so much to me. I mean, obviously we had, some of our team there. So sad that Chow wasn't able to make it. We love you, Chow. But we had a lot of our team members that were there, which was just so cool. And then just like so many different supporters and so many different people in our community. And it was just honestly such an epic night.
And we had a Click gin and tonic and a Clack Cosmopolitan. Those were our signature drinks. And we had some fun.
We did.
It was insane.
And I was really proud of you and your speech and how you just delivered everything. And I thought it was just so great.
Thanks, my friend. Okay, let's move into our airballs of the week.
So my airball is I had a vision, and my vision was Taco Bell. And Lauren and I had a meeting, and down the street we were looking for a restaurant. But as we were looking for the restaurant, I saw Taco Bell. Taco Bell, I don't know if I've said it on the pod or not before, is my favorite fast food restaurant. And as we're walking, we're trying to find Delicatessen, which is like a nice, like, quality food, healthy food options, good place, right? We're in downtown walking. And we roll past Taco Bell, and Lauren looks at me as if she's like disgusted by me that I'm walking into Taco Bell. And I'm like, girl, you don't even want to walk in this place. Like, she looks like she's scared of the restaurant. So as I walk in, I go to open the door, and it's locked. And I was so upset.
When is Taco Bell closed? That was my biggest concern.
It was midday. It was 1:00. Why is it closed? The drive-through line was open, and I was tempted to ask the guy at the drive-through to order me my bean and cheese burrito, no onions, no sauce, but add sour cream. And I didn't, because I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go with Lauren and go eat some lettuce or something.
And then you're asked to not get one thing at Elephant's.
I didn't, because I was my mind was set, my heart was set on Taco Bell.
I still can't get over that Taco Bell was closed in the middle of the day. That just seemed very off-brand.
Yeah, it was really fucked. It was like, it kind of ruined my day a little bit.
I'm sorry, but you got spaghetti later on, though.
I did. I went home and I warmed up
You got your carb fill.
Homemade spaghetti. It was fire.
All right. Jacki and her food, y'all.
I'm here for the food rants.
It's
either a good thing or a bad thing. And unfortunately, it was a bad thing this week.
Okay. My airball of the week is for any parents out there. I know I often talk about parenting fails. Dropping your kids off at school in the morning is basically the most stressful thing ever. Like, it is the lives. I have lived multiple lives by 8 a.m. because
I think you text me and it was like before 9 a.m. and you were like, so much has happened. It's only 9 a.m.
Every morning. I think every parent can relate with that. So I like get up with my kids. Nick is not there. My husband works crazy hours, so he's usually not there with me in the morning. So I'm in charge of getting them both to school. It is like always chaos. We have it fairly dialed now, but it's just like you never know what you're going to get. And I got up. I was really sleepy because I think we had a late recording the night before. I take my kids to school, and the kindergarten that my daughter goes to, it's over 100 years old, the school. Mm-hmm. So like it's not built for like modern day cars, and like, it's just a smaller part of town. And so, like, it's literally like Tetris getting through. It's so fucking stressful.
That was like my high school. I hate that.
So I'm going down this narrow alley. A Volvo comes up hot, and I swerve too far, and I hit another car. And I'm like, My kids are in the car and they're like, Mommy, what happened? And I'm like, I'm the worst mom ever. And it was just pure chaos. And like, fast forward, my car's fixed, the other person's car's fixed, but it was really stressful.
Yeah.
So shout out to Safeco for making it a very non-stressful effort after.
Well, that's good.
But man, like, it is so stressful getting in accidents, and then you add having kids in the car. It's just like the psychology of it just fucks with your head.
It reminds me of that video we did where about my mornings versus your mornings, and I'm just like sitting peacefully drinking my coffee, and you're just like fucking chaos.
Accurate. So parents out there who have little kids in school, I see you. We do get in accidents sometimes. That happens. Everybody is safe, so that is the true blessing here. But man, that was an airball. That was a big one.
I mean, I feel you. I'm sorry.
It's okay, girl. You know,
but we all have our
could
slam
be worse.
dunks and our air balls, and here we are.
And the people that sideswiped their car were extremely nice. So I was like, I have faith in humanity.
That's big. Yeah, if you're like swiping someone and they're nice, like that, good people.
But I had to leave them a note, and I was so stressed.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a shitty airball, but that's life, y'all. Let me say that again. That was stupid.
Actually, no, leave that. That was great.
All right. Well, it's almost dinner time.
We're starting to get goofy, so I think
we
it's
are
that
getting
time.
goofy. We might break out in song. That could happen.
Yeah, you're starting to fall off the ledge right now.
No, I'm just kidding. We're falling off the ledge. All right, Clackers. I hope you enjoyed this culture episode.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is a really good time. I think these culture episodes, we'd also like to hear from the people who are listening. Like,
Totally.
What do you guys want to hear from us? And I think I've said that before in the past, but please actually comment or drop something and let us know some topics that you want us to talk about.
If you DM us, I will give you my number and you can text me.
Lauren knows every follower that we have.
I do.
She probably knows their first and last names
I'm a
and
creep.
Instagram handles.
I'm a creep. But I like knowing people.
I know, you're amazing.
I want to build our community.
This is why you're great.
I mean, at some point I will not be able to creep everybody, but because the hope is that we continue to grow. But I love you all, and yeah, slide into our DMs and we'll give you our numbers and let's chat.
Love y'all. Thanks
Love
for
y'all.
listening.
Bye.